Welcome to This Week in Weird, the news segment, a part of, we usually do This Week in Weird.
You're right.
We'll do it. Don't worry.
It'll happen
this
in
is
a
part
minute.
of our
It's fine.
Keep It Weird podcast that we do on, I scratched my nose, but I also hit my lip, so I was like, cool lipstick.
I was like, what if there's just
all
a red stripe over your nose?
Beautiful.
Clown makeup.
Today we went Halloween shopping.
We did.
It was
went
awesome.
to Halloween Town and Mystic Museum, which are both in the Valley here in Los Angeles, and they are the coolest
the best.
stores.
We got matching necklaces.
We did. So cute, and they're best witches.
Best witches, and they're wonderful.
They're just the best.
They're great.
It's perfect for not only for Halloween season, but also just for your life.
They got more tarot cards.
More tarot cards. Both got some candles. You got a candle, right?
Yeah, I got a candle.
I got 2 candles, a pillow, a sign, just,
it was great.
Some stuff.
She was on the search for that pillow.
I wanted a pillow so bad.
Everywhere we went, she was
pillows?
Squishing the pillows.
Feeling them, resting my head on them. I've just been wanting a pillow to spook up my couch for October, so I feel really good about it, guys.
I feel like my couch is always spooky because I bought this spooky blanket. Yeah. Hello, welcome to our news segment.
This Week in Weird!
We almost missed each other on that one.
That never happened. We're so in sync. Guys, maybe it's an off day because of the blanket. I don't know.
Because of the blanket? Maybe it's the blanket. Maybe it's the pen.
The blanket and the pen that was in there.
Welcome to our news segment.
Hello.
This Week in Weird.
Let's read some weird news.
Part of the Keep It Weird podcast.
Yeah, don't forget to listen to the podcast too.
Yeah, we have had some good episodes lately. We have a really fun one today too.
I'm really excited about today. If you haven't yet listened to Twins, because it will blow your damn mind.
Buckets. It is
it's so good.
It was so funny too, because then I was telling my mom all the stuff about the twins, and she was like, "I've been a nurse for 35 years, so."
I know this.
Thank you.
Thank you for informing me of things I already know.
I wanted to say something cool.
I wanted to blow your mind.
So, first news story of the day. Super exciting stuff. BBC Travel recently did a story on Stonehenge and how researchers actually believe that they have figured out, or at least have come the closest that they have ever been to figuring out why Stonehenge was built.
Well, please tell me. I've been wondering.
Using underground imaging and excavation, it has been revealed that Stonehenge was once a part of a complicated network of structures, ancient burial mounds, unknown settlements, processional routes, and even gold-adorned burials. So it all started with a project called the Stonehenge Hidden Landscapes Project that looked at Stonehenge in a holistic way using underground radar and magnetic imaging techniques. From there, they found that Stonehenge lies at the center of a complex web of structures covering almost 5 full miles. Whoa. The project caused a media frenzy in 2015 when scientists announced the finding of a potential superhenge, as they called it, at a nearby Durrington Walls, which is a huge 1,640 feet diameter stone circle.
What?
However, when excavating the site, archaeologists didn't find any stones. Instead, they found that timber posts once stood there. It almost looked like the timber posts were there, and then they were going to put stones in later, and then that didn't end up happening. So they filled it with cement. Well, it was a chalk mixture that would have been cement if it was today, but it wasn't.
This was
thousands of years ago. But it wasn't a total loss because the project did reveal hundreds of new features and many sites that we've never seen before because they're currently underground.
Right. That's cool.
Let's see. And despite having the wooden posts instead of stones, it's still considered to be a huge monument, and finding another huge monument in the area has changed the way archaeologists look at the development and the history of the region. They now have ample evidence to believe that the landscape was used in religious or ceremonial processions related to the monument.
Okay.
Which is huge because that's always been the debate.
Right.
Whether it was no, it's for the aliens, or no, it's for religion. It's no, it's meaningless.
Right.
They also found by excavation and underground imaging that Stonehenge was built in 2 phases. The first, which was a ditch bank and a circle of blue stones, was built more than 4,500 years ago. And the second phase, when the larger iconic outer circle was erected, came about 500 years after the first.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's a huge discovery.
Huge. Another interesting thing, 20 miles away lies the less well-known site of Avebury, the home of the largest stone circle in Europe. Okay. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's because the stones aren't as big, because Stonehenge has those huge stones.
Right,
and everyone's like, how did they move them?
Right.
It's like they drug them.
It's fine. They figured it out.
They drug the shit out of them.
Don't be crazy.
They have discovered that the big stones from Stonehenge came from the Avebury area. Oh. This suggests that the Neolithic landscapes were linked, and the areas are dotted with ancient tombs, the amount of which reveals that this was an important region both politically and spiritually between the 2 settlements of people, and this was up to 700 years prior to the beginning of the building of Stonehenge. So it seems that Stonehenge was actually a religious, symbolic, and a political act to sort of be like, okay, like we're coming together. We're friends.
We joined together. Everything's fine.
And one more quick thing that's really cool. Another recent finding. Archaeologists discovered the cremated remains of people buried at Stonehenge. In 2008, an excavation retrieved about 58 burials, including at least 9 men and 14 women. It's thought that anyone buried at Stonehenge had elevated social status. This therefore poses questions about the role of women in the New Stone Age.
Yeah.
Because they weren't sure if there's been a debate that it was actually like a matriarchal society, that everything focused around the women and not the men, and the amount of women that they're finding buried at this like kind of prolific site suggests that maybe, yes, they were.
So they were the higher ups. That's interesting. Go Very girls. Cool. Girl I know, I like that. I kind of like finding that out. That's fun.
I know, that's crazy.
That's such a big find.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge deal. Stonehenge has been talked about. I mean, we've even talked about it on our podcast. Yeah. Like, who made it? What's happening? Like, these are huge breakthroughs. Had to be aliens. That's very cool. So we all know that Lauren's Derp Corner happens every episode. It's usually my last news story. But I was telling Ashley before we even started, I was like, all of my stories today probably could be in Derp Corner, but my final story of the day is like the worst. The derpiest of all. So I'll start with like best to least. But I mean, in true Lauren fashion, they're all going to be a little special. So enjoy.
I love them.
No! I almost clicked out of the article. It's totally fine. So, a London museum has started a crowdfunding campaign to purchase a mummy. And those who help them out will get their hands on some really unusual thank you gifts, which I will get to in just a little bit. Wonderful. It makes me want to contribute. The Victor Wind Museum of Curiosities at the Last Tuesday Society in Hackney is raising money so it can buy a 1,000-year-old mummified head of a young boy from the Chimú in Peru. Okay. The museum claims to display a range of unusual and intriguing items from a 2-headed lamb to fairies. So they're very strange and like
fairies.
To fairies. It's basically a place that we need to take a field trip to. So donate to our Patreon and we get to go to London.
We can go to London.
London town.
London.
It says it needs to raise 6,666 pounds. Lots of sixes in there, eh? To purchase the head and buy a climate-controlled head for it to be kept in. On its Indiegogo page, the museum explained, almost 2 years ago, thanks to the extraordinary generosity of almost 500 people, we were able to build and open the Victor Wind Museum of Curiosities. The museum has had over 15,000 visitors, but now it's time to buy the museum a birthday present.
Yay!
And fill a gaping void in its collection of wonders. Love birthdays. I love birthdays. We've been offered an exceptionally fine and absurdly beautiful 1,000-year-old mummified head of a young boy from the Chimú in Peru. But for those who get to help the crowdfunder, which I'm like, we should give to this so we can get these gifts, there are some very unusual thank yous. A donation of £30 will get you a pinch of mummy dust, while £35 will earn you the skull of a small animal. That's what I've been wanting my entire life.
How did you know?
How did you know?
I have Wolverine
Victor Wind.
Does that count?
That does count. That would be right in line with all this. For 43 pounds, you can get yourself a real human bone from the 19th century. And for 100 pounds, you can get your hands on a pair of Victor Wynn's used underwear. You heard right. I had to pause just for a moment.
I feel like that should be the least amount. It's like you donate 10 pounds, you get used
You
undies.
get used underwear
and
because
then
you
you
suck.
get like cool bones.
Yeah,
and
why
mummy
is that
dust.
as it's
like, use
escalating? I
underwear.
don't understand. But there's another really wonderful one. For 550 pounds, you will get a whale penis bone, which, you know, you can hang on your wall, you know, all those.
Use in the
Where
bedroom.
you use it in the bedroom.
Wink.
And for the sum of 2,000 pounds, donors will be allowed to take the mummy, this mummified boy, home for the night. If you give 2,000 pounds, you get to sleep with the little mummy boy.
Who would do that?
So the museum is begging for donations. They really, really want this museum. Some other things
Why?
that
They have
in their
such good gifts.
some other things in their collection include extinct bird feathers, Furbies, occult paintings, cyclops skulls, giant bones, scientific and medical instruments, erotica, and more. And they desperately need the mummy to make all of their dreams come true. So give today to the Victor Wynn Museum.
Give it to them. Actually, it's funny that you bring up museums because in our last newsletter, for those of you who donate $10 or more a month, we gave a list of like our top 5 weird museums in the United States.
That
and
is
it
true.
was a good one,
Pretty
if I do
rad.
say so myself.
There are so many cool museums in the U.S., including the Museum of Jurassic,
Jurassic
Technology, which we've now been to a couple of times. Well, you have, right?
I've been to it twice.
Okay.
I want to go to it 900 more times.
Right.
I love it.
I think I've been 5 times now, but I could always go back. I
It's
live really close to it, and
The
I
weirdest place I've ever been
love
in my
taking
entire
guests there just to blow their mind.
I just remember how much Joe wanted to leave.
Yeah. How much
he was like,
I don't
I'm so
feel
ready to leave this museum now.
I feel very strange about this place. You just have, if you're in Los Angeles, you just
Look it
have to
up.
go.
It's
like, we can't even
nuts.
describe it.
No, there's
You just
no
have to go.
way to.
No, there isn't a way.
You walk in and there's like a flower pot and it said, trust the bees.
And it was like,
It's like, what?
And the guy who's howling in the little box, like, oh, was
Yeah,
sitting
there's a
on the
little
chair.
guy howling in a box, and
There's-
there's like little sculptures in the eye of a needle,
Mhm.
and there's a whole room dedicated to Cat's Cradle.
And I loved that room.
That
'Cause I was
room's
doing
pretty
Jacob's
cool.
Ladder
Yeah, because you
over and
can
over.
do Cat's Cradle in there, but there's just like a bunch of hands coming out of the wall with cats. It's
Just
insane.
Go.
I don't understand.
I know,
There's the
this-
trailer park room.
Yes, where it's just a bunch of like dioramas of trailers.
Trailer parks.
Yeah, like different trailers, different sizes,
I don't know.
all kinds of things. This museum that I was just reading about in London sounds along the same lines. Like, it's kind of like, we just have everything and
Odd
we don't
stuff.
make any sense. Yeah. So, Hurricane Harvey, awful, left so much devastation down in Texas. But we came across an article that talks about some kind of bizarre things. Like, it was a list of some weird things that happened after Harvey that I guess are kind of a way to sort of cheer you up. Like, with all the devastation that happened, these are kind of fun things where it's like, how did that happen after Harvey? So, it starts this way. In August, Kathy Brooks forgot to bring in her laundry basket from outside her home after putting clothes to dry on her clothesline. She didn't think about the ordinary household item again until right after Hurricane Harvey hit Jackson County. When she looked out her bathroom window before she was heading to work, that's when she finally was like, oh shit, I left my basket out there.
Not my basket.
Not my basket! Harvey made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane with winds of 130 miles per hour, causing boats to turn over, roofs to peel off, and trees to uproot. As we said, just absolute devastation. You guys have heard the news, you know. But Brooks' $2 white empty laundry basket, for whatever reason, did not move from its spot underneath the
so
clothesline,
crazy.
which was not touching any buildings or any poles. Like, there was no way for it to stay down. The only difference, she said, was that the basket was upside down, but it was in the exact same spot. The sight baffled and amused Brooks. Like I said, at least it like brought a tiny smile.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
how?
crazy.
She said, I had to laugh because I had branches all over the place, and my $2 laundry basket that I forgot left sitting out there in my backyard is still sitting there. I figured it would be 5 miles down the road, but there it was. A laundry basket was not the only item to oddly survive the worst hurricane to hit Texas since 1961. Another resident who did not want their name published out of respect for those who suffered great loss said a martini glass set was also completely unaffected by the hurricane. The martini glass set remained standing, unbroken, and filled with water that had leaked into the room
roof
when the
got torn
ceiling was
off.
gone. Yeah, the roof, the ceiling, everything was gone.
Ceiling's gone.
And water filled the martini glasses. There's like
just
brown
sitting.
water. So these martini glasses sitting on a little tray, and there's just brown water inside from the top, but they're perfectly fine.
This is like tornado stuff.
Yeah.
Like tornado, we're both from Illinois, so we've experienced many a tornado.
Oh,
And that's
yes.
what happens with tornadoes. Like, I remember my grandma's house got hit by a tornado in, I don't remember, like 1998 or something. Later than that. Anyways, and her house was like here, and then there was maybe like 40 feet, and there was my grandpa's shed with like the camper and like all this stuff in it. And my grandparents like hid in the basement in like the she calls it the hamper, which is where you keep all the
Yeah.
canned goods. And
Hamper.
they hid down there. The glass windows on one side of the house completely shattered. The shed and the camper gone. I mean, gone.
Just vanished.
Just
Who
gone.
knows?
The camper got blown all the way down to like their pond. The shed
God.
was just gone. And all that happened in the house was like glass from the windows got broken out.
That's
So that's
insane.
like tornado weather.
Right, 'cause
Hurricanes
they
are
hit
usually
specific
like
spots. Totally.
like-
It's like they level everything.
Yeah.
Because a tornado can hit in a very specific spot and then miss another thing. For a hurricane to just leave a martini glass
that's
set
crazy.
perfectly standing. And they're just like filled with water. Like, I just can't. Another resident, Emmett Glonia, said several trees in his backyard were uprooted and laid across the yard, but the backyard fence remained and was perfectly fine. And he even said, "I'm not sure what happened there. Perhaps a tornado touched down and left, but it was quite a sight to see." He's 82. I just imagine this old man being like, "What
My
happened?"
fence is here.
But my fence. Brandy Ramirez, also of Victoria, lives in a 127-year-old farmhouse off of Farm to Market Road. I don't know where that is.
You
but if
guys
you're
know
from
where
Texas-
Farm to Market
You
Road
know,
is.
that road, that old road. Fearing the worst in a Category 4 storm, she thought she'd be better off seeking refuge somewhere else in town. She said, "I fully expected the house to be matchsticks when I returned. But when she did return to her house the Saturday after the storm, she found it completely unchanged. Like a 127-year-old farmhouse, like made of nothing sturdy. It was completely unchanged." She said Ramirez had several pecan trees in her yard. No tree limbs damaged the house at all, even though trees had fallen over, and branches were all over the place, but not a single shingle was out of place, and the windows, which were not even boarded up, also remained perfectly intact. The roof of her barn, which is off to the side, was completely peeled back and curled up, but the house seemed like it was in its own little bubble.
That's crazy. Weather
and
is
was
weird.
perfectly untouched. And it goes on and on. There's a ton, but I won't read all of them. I just thought those were the
That's
most
so
interesting.
crazy.
So, like, how? Why?
We experienced a very scary natural disaster last night.
We did. The water in my cup on my nightstand moved from side to side.
Like
it
a
was
T-Rex?
major damage. It was like the T-Rex was coming and stomping towards
We
my
had a 3.2 earthquake last
Yeah.
night. It was 3.2,
3
I
point
think.
something. Yeah, earthquake in Westwood, which is pretty close to my apartment. It's basically like in my backyard. So I felt it. My husband and I were both like shaken out of our sleep, and it took me so long to collect like what was happening.
Like,
Because to
what is
me, I'm
going
just
on?
like, why am I awake? Like, what just woke me up? And I was like, oh, I'm shaking. I was just sitting there for like 10 seconds.
I was sitting right here.
going back and forth. She was
Joe
here.
is where you are, but we're in North Hollywood, so we're like not as close to Westwood at all. And he was sitting right here. He didn't feel a thing, and I was like, "Earthquake! Earthquake! There's an earthquake!" And
It's
like
happening!
Penny reacted to it, and Joe was like, "What? Like
What's
what?"
going on? The fact that you
So-
guys felt it all the way over here, though, shows. I mean, it was strong.
Yeah.
It was like no damage was done, but it was strong enough that people
We're fine.
felt it. But I looked over at my little cup on my nightstand. The water was moving. I was like, but it was fine. We're all alive.
I have one more story. This event actually took place in 2009, but as far as my research could find, I couldn't see anything posted about it online until about 5 days ago. So, a husband and wife just came forward. They're in their 80s. They want to remain anonymous. I know the husband's name is Ron, but I don't know anything else. They came forward to speak to paranormal investigator Paul Sinclair, who's writing a book, which I believe is out now, but I couldn't find any info on it, that is about the Willsthorpe incident, which has been branded Britain's New Roswell. That was really hard to say. I'm going to try it again. The Willsthorpe incident, which has been branded.
Damn him.
Britain's New Roswell. I'll edit it. I won't. I don't know how to edit video.
Just take it for what it is.
Anyway, so this was the night of September 14th, 2009 at 11 p.m. on the Willsthorpe Beach in East Yorkshire. They lived in one of the 30 flats. That's an apartment.
Flat. You're learning things.
For all you Americans out there. Yeehaw.
All you loser Americans.
That overlook the sea. So they're basically like, it's like a beach apartment.
Sounds lovely.
I know. They decided to go to bed, however, as I am like not reading my like punctuation. I'm not reading. I
stuttered through all of my stories
What's
too.
happening?
I stuttered through both of my stories so far. Too
The
much shopping.
Got us tired. Okay, so they decided to go to bed. However, as the woman went to turn off all the lights, she saw a glow outside. She said that something told her to go outside before she opened the front door and looked out to sea, where she was amazed to see several glowing UFOs above the coast. She described them as 15 feet long and 8 feet wide, approximately. Obviously, she didn't have her ruler.
Measuring stick.
She said that there was a huge circle of boomerang-shaped crafts. As she adjusted to the scene in front of her, she actually noticed that there were loads of them. 30 to 40 crafts floating still and silently, but the sea below was bubbling, banging, and crashing.
Oh, boy.
Her husband said, "It was like a blue and white Christmas tree over the sea. I was frightened and left after 10 minutes and put my head under the pillow for the night. But my wife told me that she was not scared and she knew she was never going to see anything like it again in her life. So she stayed up and watched it for like half an hour. So she stayed for around half an hour before the objects began to lift out of the circle in pairs at a 45-degree angle until just 2 were left and they shot straight up in the air."
What?
The couple reported that the next day the beach was swamped with military. 2 Chinook helicopters full of RAF personnel landed on the beach and basically took over. The beach was closed for the day. Paul Sinclair, the author of the book that I was talking about, also spoke with a man who runs a bait shop at Bridlington Harbor, who told him his bait diggers had seen a triangle-shaped craft enter the sea in 2009 over the same period, and he later saw that the beach was surrounded by soldiers. He couldn't positively identify the date being the exact same, September 14th, but he did know it was in 2009, so they're assuming that this was the exact same event that happened. Separately, a man working on a boat at Blythe Park Boat Compound also confirmed the military presence that day.
Okay.
Paul Sinclair submitted a Freedom of Information request to the Ministry of Defense to find out why the operation took place on September 15th, 2009.
Good for him.
However, the response he eventually received was that it was just a routine military exercise, that no live ammunition was used, and any explosions heard were controlled detonations of simulated ammunitions. Sinclair continues to investigate the case and is trying to obtain historic Coast Guard reports from the period.
Interesting. Just a routine operation right after
several people see UFOs over the ocean. Sure.
I
don't buy it either. You know what? Not buying it.
Not buying it at all.
You're hiding something. And we're watching you closely. Is it time?
It is time for Lauren's Derp Corner! Alright, so, even though I prefaced the episode saying, like, I kind of have silly stories, I feel like, compared to this, the other stories were a little more hard-hitting.
Wonderful.
So I wanted to go real stupid. Firefighters spent 3 hours removing a weight at a gym from a gym goer's sensitive part.
Pee-pee?
The pee-pee.
Oh!
A man working out in a German gym, got his penis stuck inside a 5.5 weight, like one of those that you put onto the bar, like those tiny little holes that slip on the bar. He had to have that removed from his penis. Firefighters spent 3 hours using a grinder and a vibrating saw to free what was widely reported to have been the man's penis from the center of the disc, and they had to break it down in order to get it off of him, so that's the broken weight.
What?
The Worms Fire Department in Germany, interesting, shared the photograph of that shattered weight to Facebook following the delicate extraction. The department also urged other gym goers could not be delicate enough. The department also urged other gym goers to not imitate such actions, please. Authorities did not make clear how the man ended up with the weight wrapped around his manhood, and so the incident prompted plenty of speculation on social media. People have questions, just like you. So a couple tweets were, so many questions. The next one saying, is this the male version of Kegels? Which I thought was hilarious. And then, they just like highlighted the 3 funniest. And last but not least, where was his spotter? So those were some of the responses.
That was not an accident.
Mm-mm. Absolutely not.
And he was at a public gym?
A public gym.
Put his pee-pee in a... Wait.
He put his pee-pee. And it was one of the smaller weights, 5.5 pounds. Like, it's a smaller one. Like, what was your goal? Why did you think you would fit in there? Or maybe maybe you're a little small, which is okay. You know?
It's fine.
It's all right.
It's not about size.
It's not about the size. But yeah, well, you couldn't see the picture I showed Ashley. The weight was completely shattered because I had to grind it into pieces.
I saw that picture of the weight on like Instagram or Facebook, but didn't read what it was. I just saw the shattered weight, and I was like, probably a CrossFit thing. So I didn't pay any attention to it. Well, I wish I had read it now.
I saw the same thing. I saw the weight and I just kind of brushed past it because I was like, something weird happened at a gym. But then as I was scrolling back up, I happened to catch the word sensitive body part and I was like, what?
Which
Vagina,
one?
Penis? And then it was a penis corner. But you see how that was truly the derpiest story.
No,
so the other ones are
you were right about that.
Much better. I just couldn't resist. I read it and was like, I have to.
This is
Penis in a weight hole.
Penis in a weight hole. That's my band name.
Penis in a weight hole. Can't wait to go out and hear Penis in a Weight Hole tonight. The Viper Room.
That's all the time we have this week for This Week in Weird. Join us next week and make sure you listen to this week's episode. It's going to be pretty bonkers, I think. We haven't recorded it yet. Maybe it won't be, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be super bonkers.
No, it's going to be really good. So make sure you tune in and listen to past episodes. Like, get caught up already.
Get caught up.
Jeez.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Bye.
Bye. Have a good week.
Keep it weird.
You know what? We should start doing this.
Oh, yeah,
we said at the beginning that this was going to be our symbol. We were going to do it all the time. Have you seen us do it once? No? And look, it's even on our shirt.
Like, we put the hand symbol there, but then what's funny
We've never done it.
We record an audio podcast, and we're like, dang it, no one's ever going to see us do it. And then we created videos, and we've never done it.
Done it.
Keep it weird.